powered by Riverside FM.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Chit Chat Show where we chit and chat like there's no tomorrow. I'm your host, Favorite Flav, and I am excited. Welcome to our second episode, y'all. I'm excited. I was my first episode. What did you guys think? Give me some feedback, please. Also, thank you for taking your time out of your day to even listen to this, whether you're listening while driving to work, driving to school, or just in bed. Just thank you for taking your time out of your day, and I would love some feedback because we're only going up from here. So what y'all think? Tell me. Tell me. What y'all think? Anyways, but cool. Yeah, so this week for me has been a very lazy week. I'm talking about I don't want to do anything. Class is hard for me to get to. It's just been lazy to the point where I didn't go to the gym 3 days in a row. Mm-hmm. 3 days in a row. And usually I really do keep going, but this week is just not really been it. I don't know why. I don't know what's up. Maybe it's the weather. It's just hasn't been it. But don't worry, it's not always how you start it, but it's how you finish. So I was in the gym for like 2 hours today. I did my glutes and I did chest, shoulders. I had to do two workouts today, to be honest. And then three, because I did abs first, and then I finished up with some cardio. So and also I did all that just because I'm not sure if I'm gonna be going tomorrow. So I'm like, let me just get it in. Let me just get it in just in case. Just in case I gotta finish for the week. But yeah, cool. So yeah, so what I'm gonna be talking about today, this topic really it does make me annoyed when it's being done, you know, when it's being done because it makes me feel some type of way. And this is something that could tarnish relationships. I'm talking, it can break relationship and any type of relationship either, whether it's family, your significant other, friends, work, coworkers, acquaintances, whatever it is, it really could disrupt a momentum of things. And I'm talking about lack of communication, lack of communication, me beloved. And I don't think y'all understand how annoying lack of communication is. And don't get me wrong, personally, I wasn't one that was always great at communicating because I never really knew what to say, how to say it. And like I said in my last episode, I do overthink a lot. So sometimes for me, I can't communicate because I'm trying to put everything together in my head before I say it. For me, it's like it has to be perfect before I say it out loud. I need to know exactly what I'm feeling, what's going on. But lack of communication really does annoy me. Like over time, I have learned to communicate. I'm not perfect at it. Nobody's really truly perfect at it. You can always keep learning more about it. Everybody communicate differently. So the way you communicate, someone might not be able to understand that. So yeah, it is something that can be very frustrating, especially if it's something where you've told the other person or group about it and you've communicated through a situation and it just keeps happening. You know? And yeah, lack of communication for me is something that I did used to struggle with and since I've kind of gotten better at it, it does annoy me when people you know, and it is kind of hypocritical to be honest, but I feel like if I'm able to communicate to you what's going on as to like if I like something or don't like something and you're not really reciprocating that you understand, I'm just gonna feel like you don't care. And honestly, when you do realize that you have some serious lack of communication, it does kind of show like, oh, okay, cool. Let's let's get into it. So for me, when it comes to lack of communication, if someone isn't communicating with me, I feel like I'm getting ignored. And don't. I dislike getting ignored. I dislike getting ignored. And lack of communication is something where, or communication itself is really just like, if you can't communicate, say you can't communicate. Just don't leave me undelivered, on red, or anything like that. Just say you can't communicate. And as humans, we do have expectations of people. There are things where you will be like, it's common sense. To you, it's common sense. To me, it's common sense. But to others, it's like everybody's different. Everybody grew up different and things like that. But so I was speaking to somebody. Yeah. And this isn't even like too long ago. I was speaking to somebody, and this person, right, talked at communication. And me, I suck to at communication sometimes. I have my days. But this person trash at communication, right? And I would say I'm a pretty open person. If you ask me the right questions, there's really not much to hide, to be honest, or nothing to hide. I just say it how it is. Everybody have lives. So I've communicated with this person times and times again about certain things, about expectations. That the third, right? And they'll say, "Yeah, I do understand. Things were opening up. This, that, the third." But it's like, cool. They will kind of like start you know, turning what I say into actions. It's like, okay, she doesn't like this, so they're not gonna do this or whatever. But it only lasted for like a week. It only lasted for like a week, and it was always like a repeat thing because after that week, it's just like, what's going on? It basically goes silent. I don't know what it is, but yeah. And then it's just like it's draining. When it comes to like communication, it's draining. And then it gets to a point where it's just like, okay, I'm getting ignored. I feel like I'm getting ghosted. And there are things where it's just like, if someone has told you the expectations, right, of whatever anything is, and if you can't fulfill those expectations, communicate it with that person, right? You just have to communicate it. Yes, it sounds easy. It's easier said than done. I understand it. But if I see that you're not even trying, keyword, trying to even communicate, it really shows lack of respect and that you don't really care. Plain and simple. And like I said before, I was someone who wasn't great as communicating. So I do understand that. I do give the benefit of the doubt, but it gets to a point when I'm giving the benefit of the doubt too much. Because if I said this one, two, three, 10 times and you're not getting it or picking it up, like, why you make me feel like a mug? It's one of those things where, cool, I'm Nigerian, right? And then I have Nigerian parents. It's one of those things when you tell your parent over and over something and they're not, and it's not clicking. And if you have African parents, you know how hard it is to communicate with them. It's frustrating. It's very frustrating. So yeah, lack of communication for me, it sucks. I and I don't like how it makes me feel Because I really do be feeling like, dang, like I'm really getting ignored right now. This person isn't talking to me. Do they not care? You know what I mean? And this isn't only when it comes to like relationships or talking stages or whatever, can also be with friends and family as well, you know? Especially, oh my god, especially in the group chat. Oh my goodness. So in the group chat, I'm gonna put something in the group chat, or anybody puts anything in the group chat, and nobody is responding. You're on your phone. Everybody is always on their phone. Everybody, no matter what, you're always on your phone. Or you're gonna pick your phone more than 5 times in a day, right? And it's really hard for my group chat, for my friend group to make plans, to be honest, because people don't really respond, or they don't respond in a timely manner. Yes, you're busy. We're all busy. You know what I mean? But if we're trying to make plans, it's if we're trying to make plans and you do see the message, you're most likely gonna see the message. It's like there's no reason to not just say anything, especially when you see it, or if you see it. There's no reason to just be quiet. You really could just respond, yes, I can make it. No, I can't make it. Simple. That's communication. Is it not? Is it not? Y'all, don't come for me. The group chat better not come for me, because I'm being like, this is serious. I'm just like, is it not communication? If you can't make it, just say you can't make it. If you can, great. At the end of the day, it's not my fault to make it or not. And it's just like, if it's one person, if it's me, and then somebody else is running, okay, cool. But it's just like, why is everybody else radio silent? Why am I being ignored right now? Or why are we being ignored right now? And then when the day comes, oh, what's the word? Please, I'm in my bed now. Please, I'm in my bed now. Am I wrong? Am I wrong for feeling that way? Am I wrong for feeling that way? Please, somebody tell me. And it really is frustrating, because trust me, I understand life gets busy. I understand it. I feel like I'm a pretty understanding person when it comes to a lot of things. And sometimes I feel like maybe I am too understanding, to be honest. But communication really, it could be so small, it could be so big. And when there is a lack of communication, it's hard for people to understand each other, to understand where you fall and all of that things. Like just a simple yes or a simple no. Like that little communication, that just yes or that just no, that small communication really could be the end of a lot of things. It really could be the end of a lot of things, to be honest. Yeah, I would say just communicate. At the end of the day, whether it's something that's going to be really hard for somebody else to take in or whatnot, it's better for you to just communicate that than to leave somebody guessing. And would you not want someone to communicate with you as to what they're feeling, as to what's going on, and things like that? But yeah. Yeah. And I think people do really, they don't really understand how important it is to communicate with people. The same way you would communicate to your professor as to a missing assignment, as to being late to an exam, as to what it is you need to pass the class. I think that the people that are closest to you even deserve that same level of communication, because it shows respect. It shows that you are listening to what the other person is saying or what the group is saying. It shows that you do care about what they're saying. It shows respect, you know? And when communication isn't happening, it just shows you don't care about this person or people because it's not hard. It's hard, it's not, depends. But if the other person doesn't really fully understand, then they don't understand. It should be a sign for you to be like, oh, okay, but like this person doesn't understand, so you keep it pushing, you know? And honestly, the lack of communication really does hurt because you don't know where people fall, you don't know where you stand. It does hurt because it's just gonna keep making you think and think and think as to what's going on. Is this person okay? What did I do? Did I do anything wrong? It does make me question, to be honest. And it caused a lot of misunderstanding. It caused a lot of disagreements, insecurity, and it just drags on. And also, if you're someone who does suck at communication, you're holding a lot in that you need to let out. And I would say part of me, even when I really sucked at communication, was like I was just holding everything in, taking in everything, and not knowing how to let go of all that feeling or that resentment, anger, or whatever emotions it was I was feeling. Like, because why is it hard for me to say, yeah, I'm happy? Why is it hard for me to communicate that I'm happy or that I'm sad or that I'm mad? You know? And when it comes to conflict too, you're having an argument with a friend and y'all are saying the exact same thing, but nobody's listening to each other. Like, it's just because there's a lot of problems that shouldn't even be a problem. So, yeah, communication really is important. I would say when you're able to communicate with somebody, you learn how to love that person. You learn how to respect that person. You learn how to care for that person. When you're able to communicate, you're not just like speaking or talking just to talk, but you're also able to listen as well. When you start letting the things that's holding you back, when you start letting it go, you're going to be able to take more in and not necessarily like negative things either. You're going to be able to forgive. You're going to be able to articulate what somebody did that might have hurt you. You're able to go confront that person. And confrontation is hard, trust me. But you are able to go confront somebody as to what you did kind of did hurt, you know? Like it hurt me to a point where I don't want to be around you. I don't want to see you or anything like that. And once you just like say it out loud, it's freeing. You feel free. Like you feel free. 'Cause you will feel free. And also, I feel like a lot of reason relationships don't work or even like situationships that I've been in is because either one of us really sucked at communicating or both of us sucked at communicating or one was communicating more than the other, so it does seem that one is trying more than the other, but the other person just didn't know what to do. And for me, sometimes I'm like, okay, cool. If I'm able to open up, maybe that does show them how to open up. I mean, that does show them a little bit of what to do or how to, but no, it really doesn't sometimes. And once you are able to communicate, you are more willing to be vulnerable, I believe. And vulnerability is a big part of communicating because there was a point in time where I don't want anybody seeing me vulnerable. I don't want to be vulnerable, even to people that I'm really close with, because vulnerability is scary. When you are vulnerable to the wrong person, it can be traumatizing. It really can. When you are vulnerable to someone that maybe doesn't understand, maybe someone who isn't really an empath, or someone who doesn't know how to be there for you, or don't know what to do, or just dismiss the way that you feel entirely. It can be traumatizing, you know? But I feel like that also shouldn't really get you to stop. Because the way I see it, if I if I open up or become vulnerable to somebody and they don't really, I don't want to say validate my feelings, because we shouldn't be looking for validation, but someone who just pushes my emotions to the side, I will feel some type of way, like, but that also just shows me that that isn't that's someone that can't understand, that won't understand. That's someone that I shouldn't really have around me. It's one of those things where it's like, if they were really your friends, if they really loved you, if they really cared about you, if they really respected you, it's really one of those things that if they really did, you know, they would be able to show it. And I feel like definitely everybody has different understanding, different definition of things, different definition of communicating, different definition of love, different definition of caring, of vulnerability, because everybody grew up different. Everyone's environment definitely was different. So it's just one of those things where communication does come into play, because if I become friends with somebody who's the complete opposite of me, we're most likely gonna clash a lot. We're most likely gonna clash a lot. Someone who's haven't been through the things I've been through, we're most likely gonna clash a lot. And even if someone hasn't been through what you've been through, you can always communicate how you feel. And if they do respect you or care enough, they would just really listen. Because a lot of times you just need to listen. You really just need to listen before and think before you speak. But I feel like definitely communication is it is a very tricky thing for me, to be honest. Especially it's like, if I feel I'm putting in efforts and the other person isn't trying to put in efforts. And like I said, this isn't something that has to be perfect. This isn't something that I've perfected, but it is something that I do try to do. Something that I do try to do. You don't have to be the best. You don't have to be perfect at it, but you have to try. If you really cared about somebody, you would try your hardest. You would try your hardest. If you really love somebody, you would try your hardest. You just don't be like, okay, and then not try. When you have an exam, you do try to study. Even if you're not the best at studying, you do try to study. Because why is it that everything else in your life, you'll try? But when it comes to communicating, which isn't easy, you don't try to, because it will make the other person feel like they're the problem, even if they're not. Because to them, it's like, this person doesn't care, this person just cares about what they want to do, how they want to do it, on their timing. But deep down, you really could be going through the craziest thing ever. Your world could be falling apart. You, God forbid, got into a crash. God forbid, something's happened. It really could be going through life, but the other person doesn't know, because you're not even trying to communicate it. And honestly, even if you don't even feel like speaking or being vulnerable or wanting to talk to somebody, You saying I need space. You saying I don't really want to talk right now. You saying this is gonna be a busy week for me. That is communicating. That is you trying. Because honestly, you don't have to tell the full story. You don't have to say every single thing. Some things I do think you keep to yourself, but you also gotta try. And not just for that person too, but for you. And when you are able to communicate, this isn't even just about other people too. It's also about yourself. You're able to start understanding yourself more and more. When you try to, you're able to start understanding yourself more and more. You're able to start understanding your emotion. You're able to just start understanding who you are inside and out. You start understanding what other people might see or what you see in yourself. You start understanding why certain things make you feel certain ways. Because there are times where I will be like, why am I feeling this way? What's going on? But once I start communicating with myself, once I start understanding a little bit more, I start realizing, okay, maybe I was triggered by something. Maybe, you know, I feel this way because this, that, the third. You start communicating. And honestly, before you can even communicate with other people, you need to be able to communicate with yourself or communicate with God. But yeah, I really do dislike lack of communication, to be honest, because it does bring out a lot of emotions for me. It is triggering for me, and especially when it's something that have, you know, especially if it's something that I've had to say over and over again. It's just, it really is just like, am I being heard? Are you even listening to me? You know, do you care? Do you care? But lack of communication really did teach me as well, among us other life lessons, that you can't really expect much from people. Even something as simple as communication that isn't that simple, you can't expect it from somebody. Because when you do start to expect things, you will get disappointed quick. Expectations causes disappointments. And it is a very hard lesson, to be honest. And for me, I am someone who do tend to expect things too quickly from people, or think this is a worldwide known common sense thing that people should know, people should be doing. But no, it's really not in reality. In reality, it's not. I feel like when there is lack of communication, it does make it can make someone feel unheard, unlistened to. And when someone is communicated in a way that you don't understand for real, it will make you misunderstand where they're coming from. And misunderstandings causes disagreements. And then it goes on to a conflict that becomes unresolved because two people don't know how to communicate, or two people don't really understand the two different ways of communication. They don't understand that this way of communication works for this person, and your way of communication works for you. But also, we make whatever we want to make hard, because at first communication was very hard for me. It was very hard for me, but we make it hard. I made it hard. And what what would be the excuse? Because if you really loved somebody or said you loved them, you'd try. You try to want to provide for them. You'll try to work hard. You try your best at that. Not just try, you try your best at that. You will fight, but sometimes I think people don't need to realize that fighting isn't always an action. I mean, communication is an action. Fighting isn't always a physical thing. I think that's what I meant. What I'm trying to say. Fighting isn't always a physical thing. It really could just be you trying to communicate, you expressing what you can and you cannot do. Let's say you're talking to somebody and you already have this expectations of what it should be like when talking to somebody, when being in a relationship, and their expectation as well could be different, right? But once you communicate your expectations and they communicate their expectation, you will get to see what you can and you cannot do, or what you don't think you can do, or what you could try to do. But at least that person already knows, like, once you communicate that, I can expect this much from this person because I know they won't be able to do it, or at least on the time that they want it to be done. Communication is something that can make or break anything and everything. If you're a construction worker or an architect and you're working with a bunch of other people and nobody's really communicating where that brick should go, where that should go, where that wood should go, or how much, breaks you might need. Nobody's really communicating it. House or whatever you're building, it's not gonna stand. It's not gonna stand strong. It's quickly gonna fall. It's quickly gonna fall. And not everybody is just gonna be confused as to, oh, what went wrong? What went wrong, When all they could have done was communicate the plan, communicate what's going on, or at least try to communicate. And for me, sometimes it's like, am I communicating too much? And yeah, it is something that stresses me out. And like I said earlier, I don't like being ignored. And when someone isn't communicating with me, or a group of people isn't communicating with me, I do start to feel like I'm getting ignored. And sometimes that's not even the case. But my brain to start going there, my mind to start going there, like, this person is purposefully ignoring me right now, right this very moment, or for ever long hours or days. This person is ignoring me. But communication isn't always perfect, to be honest. But I think what, like I said earlier, people fail to do is to try to communicate. Just try. It's gonna be hard at first, but just try. Because really, what's the worst that could happen? And even if the worst happens, you're still gonna be breathing. What doesn't kill you make you stronger. You're still gonna be breathing. So just try. It doesn't hurt to try, and even if it does, you're still gonna be up. It does make you stronger. But honestly, even not saying anything to someone is communication. It could be bad, it could be good, and I do feel when you do start to learn how to communicate or trying to communicate, you're able to start listening to other people when they communicate. when you start understanding your emotions and your feelings, you start being able to understand other people's emotions and feelings. You start being able to set boundaries instead of expectations. Because when you have expectations and people don't fulfill that, you're gonna feel some type of way. But you shouldn't be feeling some type of way, to be honest, because those are expectations that you set for that person that that person doesn't even know about. But when it comes to boundaries, that person knows the boundaries and knows when not to cross the boundaries. And then when they do cross the boundaries, you do have every right to feel some type of way. You know, you have every right to feel some type of way. That's your sign that that person does not respect you or anything like that. That's your sign to skedaddle. And the more you do try to communicate with somebody or others or a group, the more it is that you are able to understand each other on whatever level you choose to understand each other. But yeah, lack of communication is very frustrating. It is very frustrating. I think I've had so many like traumatic moments that came because of lack of communication, bad experiences with friendships, with family, with situationships and things like that, all because of lack of communication. And at times it really is just like it does get to a point, it's just like what is the point of even trying to communicate if this person isn't even going to understand what it is I'm saying? They might not get it. Depending on what the person is, it's just like they might make you feel more unheard. They might make you feel more unheard. But yeah. But I feel that's why I do try to communicate as much as I could or push myself to even communicate. Even if it's just the small things too. I think that is why I do push for it a bit more because I don't want someone having to feel unheard or misunderstood because of me. Because I don't like feeling unheard or misunderstood or ignored. So honestly, if you do suck at communication, the first step really is to try. Whether it's writing in a book or on your notes app or whatnot, you really just have to try for yourself and for others. And in this world that we live in, you're going to need to know how to talk or communicate with other people, you know? So why not make it kind of sort of easier once you're able to start understand understanding them or where they're coming from, and then they hopefully do start to understand you and where you're coming from. Well, what they're coming from. But yeah, communicate sounds so simple, but taking that first step is hard. But once you do try to, it gets easier. It gets easier. But yeah, I didn't mean to bore you guys with with this whole talk, to be honest. But it is something that I hold dear to my heart. Something that does make me feel what emotional. Yeah, communication. Lack of communication. Lack of communication. Blood. But yeah, learn to communicate. Try to communicate. The world isn't gonna end because you're gonna try to communicate. Just try it and give it a shot. Try it and give it a shot. Will make the world easier a little. Will make life less stressful. But yeah, thank y'all for listening to the Chit Chat Show. We chit and chat like there's no tomorrow. I'm your host once again, Favorite Flav. If you like the podcast, like it, subscribe it, follow it, give me feedback, reviews, whatever. I'll take it all. good, bad, communicate. You see, that's even a way of communicating. Like in the podcast, or reviewing it or commenting, that is communicating. So yeah, so that, please and thank you. Thanks for listening. Hope y'all enjoy your week, weekend, day, whatever it is. Just enjoy it and communicate. Enjoy communicating or trying to communicate. Keyword trying. Just try. Just try. And just like a lot of things, you wouldn't know until you try. You wouldn't know until you try it. So give it a shot and let me know how it goes. But yeah, thank y'all so much for listening. This has been a eye-opening conversation between me, myself, and I hope it's been eye-opening too for you listening, and just hopefully you just see how important it is communication is, and how lack of communication really could be the breaking point of a lot of things, or was even the breaking point of things. But yeah, I thank you all for listening. It's been real. Hopefully to see you. Well, not see you, but you know what I mean. Yeah. Talk to y'all soon. Goodbye.